When the panicked students rushed toward the door, Rebecca stepped between them. "Stop!" Her command voice was so sharp that everyone froze instantly. "You're under my command now. Follow the rules, and I'll get every one of you home safely." And in that moment, the cafeteria worker disappeared, replaced by Hawk. Before we dive into this powerful story, tell us in the comments which city you're watching from today. And if this story moves you, make sure you subscribe, because tomorrow I have something very special planned for you. The campus cafeteria at Riverside University buzzed with typical Tuesday afternoon energy at 2:15 p.m. Students lined up for coffee between classes, study groups claimed corner tables, and the familiar sounds of conversation and laughter filled the spacious dining hall. Rebecca Johnson worked behind the serving counter with quiet efficiency, ladling soup and arranging sandwiches with the kind of systematic precision that most people attributed to good work habits. At 36, Rebecca had been working in a university cafeteria for 3 years, ever since she'd moved to the college town of Millbrook looking for a peaceful life after a previous career. Students knew her as the friendly woman who remembered their usual orders, who always had a kind word during stressful exam periods, and who somehow managed to keep the lunch rush moving smoothly even during the busiest days. The cafeteria itself was a modern, open space designed to accommodate 200 students, with floor-to-ceiling windows that provided natural light and clear views of the campus quad. Multiple entrances and exits, emergency protocols posted near each door, and a layout that Rebecca had memorized down to every table and chair placement. What students didn't realize was that Rebecca's approach to cafeteria management had been shaped by 14 years of military training in situational awareness, emergency response, and tactical positioning behind the counter provided visual coverage of all entrances, exits, and gathering areas. Her systematic arrangement of the workspace ensured maximum efficiency during crisis situations. Old habits from her previous career as Hawk, call sign earned during her years flying F-16 Fighting Falcons in combat zones. Today's crowd was typical for early afternoon. Pre-med students cramming for organic chemistry, literature majors discussing their latest assignments, international students practicing English while sharing lunch. 43 people total. Rebecca had counted automatically upon arriving for her shift. Normal campus life proceeding safely under her quiet watch. At 2:23 p.m., the campus emergency alert system shattered the peaceful atmosphere with a sound that made everyone's blood run cold. Not the familiar fire alarm they'd heard during monthly drills, but the harsh, urgent tone reserved for the situation every university hoped would never happen. Attention! Campus lockdown in effect. Active threat on campus. Secure all locations immediately. Do not evacuate buildings. Await further instructions. The automated announcement repeated twice, then fell silent, leaving the cafeteria in stunned quiet. For a moment, nobody moved. Then reality hit like a wave, and chaos erupted. Students pulled out phones, frantically calling friends and family. Some began crying. Others started toward the exits in panic. Voices rose in fear and confusion as 43 young people tried to process information that their normal college experience had never prepared them for. Rebecca's response was immediate and automatic. Her eyes swept the room, conducting a rapid tactical assessment that had become second nature during 14 years of military service. 43 civilians, multiple exits, large windows providing both escape routes and vulnerability, insufficient cover for extended defense. Step away from the windows, Rebecca called out, her voice carrying clearly across the panicked conversations. The authority in her tone made several students look in her direction, but most continued their frantic phone calls and movement toward exits. Rebecca moved from behind the counter with purpose, positioning herself where she could address the entire room. Her demeanor had shifted subtly, but unmistakably. The patient cafeteria worker was being replaced by someone accustomed to command responsibility. "Listen up." Rebecca's voice cut through the chaos like a blade. The volume and authority were so unexpected from the quiet cafeteria worker that every conversation stopped instantly. Phones down. Eyes on me. Right now. The transformation was remarkable. Students who had known Rebecca as a friendly food service worker were seeing someone entirely different. Her posture had changed, straight, alert, radiating confidence. Her voice carried unmistakable authority. Most significantly, her eyes moved constantly, assessing threats and options with professional precision. "My name is Rebecca Johnson," she said, addressing the room full of frightened faces. "For the next however long this takes, you are under my command. Follow my instructions exactly, and I'll get every one of you home safely to your families." Sarah Martinez, a sophomore pre-med student, raised a shaking hand. "Rebecca, shouldn't we just call 911? Campus security has already notified all appropriate authorities," Rebecca replied calmly. "Our job is to secure this location and wait for the all-clear. But we're going to do it professionally." Jake Thompson, a junior studying engineering, pointed toward the main entrance. "There are emergency exits. We should get out of here." "Negative," Rebecca said firmly. "Emergency evacuation during an active threat situation creates additional casualties. We follow lockdown protocol." As she spoke, Rebecca was conducting her own assessment of the cafeteria's defensive capabilities. Large space, multiple sight lines, good communication to emergency responders, but too many access points for effective security with untrained civilians. "Everyone move to the center of the room, away from windows and doors," Rebecca instructed. "Bring your backpacks and anything that can provide cover." Students began moving, but slowly, their shock making them respond sluggishly to commands. Rebecca recognized the signs of panic paralysis from her military experience. Civilians faced with crisis often needed clear, simple instructions repeated multiple times. "Form groups of 5, Rebecca continued, her voice remaining calm but commanding. "Each group designate a leader. Leaders report to me." The instruction gave frightened students something specific to focus on, which helped reduce panic while creating an organizational structure Rebecca could manage efficiently. Within minutes, she had 8 group leaders standing before her while the rest of the students huddled in their assigned clusters. "What's your background?" asked Michael Chun, a senior who'd emerged as a natural leader among his peers. "You're talking like you have military training." Rebecca met his eyes directly. 14 years Air Force. F-16 pilot. 3 combat deployments. Call sign Hawk. The revelation hit the group leaders like a physical blow. Students exchanged glances, suddenly understanding why the quiet cafeteria worker had transformed into someone who radiated professional competence in a crisis situation. "Fighter pilot?" Sarah whispered. "Like actual combat? Air-to-air and air-to-ground operations," Rebecca confirmed matter-of-factly. "But right now, that experience translates to crisis management and tactical thinking, which is exactly what we need." Rebecca pulled out her phone and opened the campus map application. "I need to assess our position and plan contingencies. Leaders, I want accountability for every person in your group. Names, any medical conditions, anyone who might need special assistance." While the students organized themselves, Rebecca moved to the windows, staying low and using the angle to observe the campus quad without exposing herself. Her trained eye cataloged details that civilian observers would miss. Patterns of movement, potential threat vectors, safe zones for evacuation if circumstances changed. All clear from the north windows, she reported to herself, then moved to check other sight lines. Professional habits that had kept her alive in hostile airspace now served to protect college students in their own campus. Rebecca's phone buzzed with an emergency text from campus security, all buildings secure in place. Multiple units responding. Estimated 20 to 30 minutes until all clear. She shared the information with her group leaders, who passed it to their teams. Knowing they had a timeline helped reduce anxiety levels significantly. 20 to 30 minutes, Rebecca announced to the room. "That's manageable. We maintain position, stay alert, and follow protocol." But Rebecca was also developing contingency plans that her civilian charges didn't need to hear about. If the threat moved toward their building, if evacuation became necessary, if they needed to implement more aggressive defensive measures, her military training provided options that college students shouldn't have to consider. Rebecca called out Emma Rodriguez, a freshman who looked barely 18. I'm scared. What if they come here? Rebecca approached the girl with the kind of calm authority that had once reassured aircrew members during combat missions. Emma, look around this room. 43 people, all looking out for each other, led by someone with 14 years of experience, keeping people safe in dangerous situations. You're in good hands. Delivered with absolute confidence, seemed to steady not just Emma, but several other students who'd been listening. Besides, Rebecca added with a slight smile, I didn't spend 14 years protecting American airspace just to let anything happen to you in a college cafeteria. As minutes passed, Rebecca recognized the need to keep her charges mentally engaged rather than allowing fear to build. She moved between groups, checking on individuals, answering questions, and maintaining the kind of calm leadership presence that prevented panic from spreading. Tell me about your studies, she said to one group of nervous freshmen. What are you majoring in? The simple question redirected their focus from fear to familiar territory. Soon they were discussing classes, professors, and career plans, normal college conversation that helped normalize an abnormal situation. To another group, she assigned specific tasks, monitoring emergency communications, maintaining accountability of all personnel, watching specific sightlines for any changes in campus activity. Giving people jobs reduced anxiety while creating useful redundancy in their security posture. You're really good at this, observed Michael Chun during one of her circuit checks. The leadership thing, I mean. Rebecca nodded. Combat aviation requires managing complex situations under extreme pressure while keeping your aircrew confident and focused. Same principles apply here: clear communication, defined roles, calm authority. Did you always want to be a pilot? Asked Sarah Martinez. Since I was 8 years old, Rebecca replied. Joined the Air Force right out of high school, earned my wings, spent 14 years flying missions I can't talk about in places I can't name. Then decided I wanted a quieter life. So you became a cafeteria worker? Rebecca smiled. I became a community member. This job lets me serve people in a different way, be part of students' daily lives, contribute to something positive. She gestured around the secured room. Apparently, the skill set transfers when needed. At 2:51 p.m., Rebecca's phone buzzed with an update from campus security. Threat neutralized. All clear in 5 minutes. Maintain positions until official notification. Rebecca shared the news with her group leaders, who passed word to their teams. The relief was audible. Conversations resumed. Some students began crying from stress release. Others started discussing what they'd experienced. Maintain positions until we get official confirmation, Rebecca reminded everyone. We don't move until campus security gives the formal all clear. 2 minutes later, the campus emergency system crackled to life. All clear. Campus lockdown is lifted. Normal operations may resume. Counseling services are available in the Student Center. Rebecca stood and addressed her 43 charges one final time. Outstanding work, everyone. You followed instructions, maintained discipline, and kept each other safe. That's exactly how emergency procedures are supposed to work. Students began gathering their belongings, but many lingered, approaching Rebecca with questions, thanks, and expressions of amazement at what they'd just experienced. Will you be here tomorrow? Asked Emma Rodriguez, the freshman who'd been most frightened during the lockdown. Every weekday, Rebecca assured her. Same time, same place. Though hopefully with less excitement. Are you going to tell people about your background now? Michael Chin asked. Rebecca considered the question. I'm the same person I was this morning. I just happened to have experience that was useful today. Tomorrow, I'll go back to serving soup and making sure you all eat properly during exam stress. By 3:30 p.m., the cafeteria had returned to something resembling normal operations. Most students had left to process their experience, call family members, or attend counseling sessions. Was alone, cleaning tables and resetting chairs with the same efficiency she'd shown all afternoon. Her phone buzzed with a text from her old squadron commander. Heard you had some excitement today. Everyone safe? Rebecca smiled. Even years after leaving active duty, the Air Force family stayed in touch. All personnel secure, she replied. Kept the kids calm until professionals arrived. The answer came quickly. Once a guardian, always a guardian. Outstanding work, Hawk. 3 years earlier, when she'd taken this job, she thought her protective career was over. The military had taught her to defend American airspace, but civilian life called for different ways of serving. Working in a university cafeteria seemed like simple, honest work, a small contribution to students' lives. Today, proved protection takes many forms. Her Air Force training had never left her. It had adapted. Instead of guarding pilots in combat zones, she safeguarded students. Instead of flying F-16s over hostile skies, she managed crises on campus. The mission was the same: stand between good people and harm. The location changed, but the commitment never did. Johnson continued her afternoon shift, serving coffee and sandwiches to anyone who needed a safe place to eat and study. Some warriors retired to quiet suburbs and peaceful hobbies. Others found new ways to serve their communities, one meal at a time, one protected student at a time. Have you ever discovered that someone in your community was quietly prepared to protect others in ways you never imagined? Share your stories in the comments below, and let us know what city you're watching from today. If this story of hidden leadership and protective courage resonated with you, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. And don't miss the 2 compelling stories appearing on your screen right now. Click and discover more tales of everyday heroes with extraordinary backgrounds. Because sometimes the most important guardians are the ones serving your lunch with a smile. See you in the next videos. Don't forget to like and subscribe.